vertexpistons.com to pass on a deal from the folks at vertexpistons.com. From one champion to another, let's get to our next guest on the show. He is calling in from Florida out there. It's Ricky Carmichael. What's up, RC? How are you?
I'm good, man. I just calling into you. Got done with the kids' homework, all that fun stuff, and yeah, glad to be on. I just caught the tail end of the Dungey there, talking to you. Did he have anything good for you?
No, he said it sounded like the comeback is done. It didn't quite work out funding-wise and all of that on coming back. We all heard that a little while ago, right? So, yeah, he just said that doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was when we were texting back and forth, selfishly, I wanted to, it would have been great to see him at the races next year, and I think it would have been fantastic for the sport. He's such a likable guy. I think definitely we know that the fans would have rallied behind him. Certainly that would have been the case. But, but from one competitor to another, I just don't know that I could get on board with that decision and what the motive would be behind it. Obviously, I know the motive would be to go out and win, and he's just accomplished so much. And I just go back to his last season and how hard it was for him to win that championship. And he fought through, and, he relied on a lot of things, his past experience and his knowledge in the game. And he had some, he had some luck on his side, no doubt. Obviously you make your own luck for sure. However, I don't know. I couldn't get on board with it, and I would just hate for him to, for some reason, have hurt himself. I personally believe in the last 2 years, the pace in Supercross, especially the 450 class, has just gotten so fast. Those guys are going so fast, and I feel that he would have been put in a position that, quite frankly, he wouldn't have wanted to be in, whether it's quadding through a section. And I could be totally wrong, I could be totally wrong. However, he went out on top. I love what he did. I am a huge Ryan Dungey fan, but I couldn't get on board with it for those reasons. Mostly just, from a safety standpoint and how fast those guys are. They're so fast.
You went out winning every race on your part-time schedule, of course, and then you went out. Did you ever think about coming back the next year or the year after or anything? Did you have any sort of things like Ryan is having where you're like, you know what, maybe I could line up, or maybe, I could make this much money or whatever? Did it ever come close to you at all? Anything?
The only time I felt that was, after Millville, when Stu didn't come back to race.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Or is that what it was?
Washougal. Yeah.
Washougal. I'm like, damn, I should have kept racing. But I will tell you, though, it did take 2 years. I didn't want to line up at the races, but I still had that feeling like, man, I could go out there and still do it, and still be competitive and compete for wins. But I didn't want to go out there and do it. I just think I was so burnt, and fried, and I'm like, man, I just, I can't. I didn't want to do it. And I think that Dungey is getting to that stage now. I always say it takes 2 years to get over that hump, to where you're like, man, it's just been too long since you've been out of the game in this sport, that he's almost over that to where it's not even a thought anymore. So
702-586-7857. You got a question for Ricky Carmichael on the Pulp MX Show? Give us a call. Brought to you by vertexpistons.com. He will take your calls for the next little bit here on the Pulp MX Show. So, yeah, it was a surprise decision for sure. I know RV pretty well. I'm pretty tight with him. And do you remember when he came back to race the Monster Cup like 2 years ago? Like,
I do.
Like, I think he was a little shell-shocked. He, at the end of the night and the next day, I think he was like, shit, I thought I'd be better. You know what I mean? Like he was prepping pretty hard. Yeah. He was just coming off his 4 championships. And like you just said, RC, a couple times, like, these guys advance. And I think RV was like, whoa. A little. I don't know if he'd ever admit that publicly, but I think he would. I think he would. No. I think he was like, holy shit. Right.
And that guy is a warrior. If there's one guy I wouldn't want to race for a championship, it'd probably be that guy. He's just going to do whatever he's got to do to win. True warrior. There's no doubt about it. And he would just grind on you and grind on you and grind on you and just put you into submission where you're like, okay, I give up. You got me. But I was shocked too. I thought I thought he was going to get out there and do a little bit better than he
Yep.
did. But that just shows you, especially in Supercross, that these guys take off, a fair amount of time. And when I say fair amount, I mean when you're off the bike for 2 months, 3 months at a time, you lose a lot. I really believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And to come back and race these guys is really, really hard, especially when they're riding all the time. They're constantly improving. And, things change. The bikes change, and they're always improving. The suspension technicians, the engine technicians, the engineers involved, they're working their tails off. And, I just, when I watch down the Supercross floor, before the night program comes on, it just blows my mind how fast, just how fast those guys are going, how fast the bikes are accelerating, and the things that they do just right out of the corner, and the talent that these guys have. It's insane how they're able to do what they do on a motorcycle.
Well, and then too, you look at some of the data stuff going on with the guys and how they're programming the bikes to open the throttle at certain percent at this corner of the track. This is stuff that you never had, Ricky. You just twisted the throttle till it fell off. But they can now monitor your throttle delivery at a certain part of the track, and all of this stuff that just makes these guys so good. The starts, the starting maps, all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, especially when the riders are willing to accept the data and learn from it. And one thing is, how it is. It's one thing to have the data, but being able to apply it and put it to where you can use it to your advantage, whether you're the rider, whether you're the engineer, making it work. That's another thing. And yeah, it's absolutely so cool to see that. And it was funny when we had RCH and we were working on all the start modes and all that fun stuff and the lockdown device, and we were just trying to get the bike to where you could basically just make it dummy proof.
Right.
Just let the clutch go, right? And not racing with that kind of technology, dude. I sucked with that kind of stuff. Like full start mode, lockdown. I couldn't even do it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not your guy for this. We need to hire Ivan or somebody to do the testing. Just that has raced recently. I felt like a complete goon. And there's probably some video floating around somewhere with it, but it was so embarrassing, So anyhow, but it's cool. I think it's great for the sport, and I think that it'd be cool if we could talk a little bit more about it, explain it a little bit better on the broadcast next year. I think that'd be something fun that the fans would enjoy.
RC,
yes.
Are you still riding right now, or what's going on? Because I know you're not with Suzuki anymore. Do you have a bike and all that, or what's going on there?
Well, besides the Triumph, he's got the Triumph.
That's right. That's right. By the way, we had a killer time on our adventure ride. Myself, Paggio, and JH and Ray Butts from Rocky Mountain ATV. We had a really good time on that ride. It was so much fun, and I have some friends over at Triumph that were at Suzuki at one time, so that's when this came about. We were supposed to go to Sturgis, but then with everything going on in the world, we weren't able to go. So we're like, man, let's do an adventure ride. So I've been, that market is really taken off. So I've been kind of watching it. I'm like, man, that'd be a lot of fun to do that. So that's how we ended up on that. But as far as moto, to be honest with you, I'm a fair weathered rider. So I don't ride that much. And when I do, it's the conditions got to be just right. I mean, the thing about it, living in Florida, if you can't go out, obviously there's no mountains or anything like that. So if you can't go out and do that kind of riding, and you just want to go out and pound out laps on the track, to me, it's not fun riding at 50%. And to ride at 100%, honestly, I'm scared something's going to go wrong and I'm going to hurt myself. And so to answer your question, I ride once in a while, but what I do find joy in when I do riding, I like king Supercross. And the reason that I like riding Supercross is because of speed. I know it's crazy for me, right? Because it's outdoor was my thing, but the reason that is because I can put the bike in second gear and just ride at my own pace and not have to go so fast. And outdoors, you got to go so fast to get that challenging feeling. Mm-hmm. And the speeds are what worry me. So, but only once in a while.
I heard through the grapevine you may be associating yourself with another OEM in the near future. Do you have anything on that, or is that crazy sources?
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
heard from anybody. Yeah, I haven't heard from anybody yet. I really haven't. So, but if it happens, if
Right.
somebody's going to hook me up, you guys will hear about it. That's for sure.
Right. I talked to Fro this weekend at Paula, and
Yeah.
how's the podcast going with you too? He told me he's been bugging you to jump on, but more and more. But how's that? How do you like that end of things? Yeah.
It's funny. I'm glad you asked that because we have fun. Real Talk 447 is a fun little project for us. I mean, you kill it. You own the space. You do a fantastic job. You have a huge viewership, listeners, viewers,
yeah,
and
all of that, right?
we just we get on there and we like to have fun with it and we do it when we want to do it and we like if people listen to it and it is a lot of fun when we're able to do it and it's been different,
Right,
it's been
right.
different but fun and for me is like I end up just repeating myself of what I said on the broadcast.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to find something other to talk about, not so much gossip, but just other things. And even if it's other disciplines or sports,
Sure.
I'm also down with talking about that. But it's a lot of fun. Now, Jeff will tell you, like, he'll pass the buck and say, oh, man, well, I try to get RC to do it, but he's always busy. But don't let him fool you. He's busy running the running the market there on Balboa, big dogging it. So
Yeah.
it's never Fro's fault.
No.
Yeah.
No, never.
Right? It's funny at first because he was doing all the editing and all that fun stuff. So it was I got to give it to him. He was doing a lot of the work, the back end work, which I got to give my hats off. But right now he will pass the buck for sure. So it's funny that he said that to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, he did. But check it out, 447 podcast. Once Supercross starts, for sure, you guys will be up and running. So give you a plug on here. So go ahead, Charles.
So I assume you're back as the analyst for Supercross TV.
Well, I'm hoping so. I mean, that's the plans for all intents and purposes. That'd be good. I'm hoping everything sounds like it's a go, but
right.
Man, you just you never know anymore. But I think that we're in a good position. I was able to. I thought I had a good performance in Salt Lake City, and been working at it and doing the best that I can. And a lot of people's like, man, you really got better from the first year to the second year. And did I work on it? Of course I did. Did I study it more? Absolutely. But at the same time, man, I mean, all you guys know that it's just making laps. Making
Right.
laps, as Ralph would say, and you get more comfortable, you get better, and you know what's happening, you know what to expect. And what I will say, what really helped me going from the first year to the second year is watching the outdoor races, being a little bit more in tune. I didn't know that I was going to be in that position until basically December before the Supercross started in 19. So I wasn't watching all the motocross events either. So
Right.
I just unplugged from it. And then when the opportunity came up, I hopped in. But yeah, so I was much more prepared for the 2020 season. And yet, honestly, dude, just simple math, just more laps.
Yep.
And being there each weekend. And I really love that, what that balance looks like. It works out well from a timing perspective for me, with as much as I'm involved with my kids. And so they're during the school, they're in school during the week. Then obviously in the weekends I'll work, and then I have them during the weeks most of the time, so I'm able to work with them, make sure everything's going good. And in the summers, for the most part, when I'm not doing my brand ambassador stuff, I'm able to spend as much time with them during the summer and still get some stuff done. So it's a really good balance. I like the routine. I had a long enough break away from it, and the kids are old enough now that I can do that kind of thing. And yeah, I feel like I've found a nice balance, and I enjoy it.
So does it give you any of that sort of competitive kind of the thing you're craving and you're missing out on with racing? Do you get that with tackling a new,
like before the gate drops type deal? That type of stuff?
You're getting better at something new, and you're getting the butterflies when you're live on TV. Do you get any of that from it?
100%. Great question. So absolutely I do. The biggest things that that I really get fired up on is obviously and bummed at myself and like pissed and want to do better is obviously the stand-ups. Really want to do a good job at my on cameras, and we don't have a lot of time because your co-host sometimes Daniel Blair always likes to hog up the airwaves.
He's
like,
a hack.
land your plane, dude. Producers in our ear. I'm like, okay, well, there goes about 10 seconds of the 20 that I had, but no. So I always want to do my best there and be short and concise and get the message across. And really, the when you guys are racing, what the approach that I tried to take this year was like, okay, what would I do if I had my helmet on? And I really didn't know. Like, I just kind of really learned my role and what I needed to do this season. Mm-hmm. But this year, I went into it. I'm like, I'm going to pretend like I have the helmet on. And sometimes, if I have to take the ball from Ralph, and I certainly don't want to overstep on him because he's the play-by-play guy. He is the front man. But there are times where, I've laid off in the past and I've missed opportunities where this time, if I see a pass coming, I'm going to jump on it and take it. And Ralph has been totally cool. I'm like, hey, man, I just feel like there's times where I just got to do it. I don't want to be disrespectful to you at all. And Ralph is cool. He's like, dude, totally go for it. So I did a lot of that this year, and of course, do I get nervous and is there anticipation? Absolutely. Most of the time, it comes, like I said, for my opening stand-up. Really work hard on that one because that's the message that we're trying to drive home, and trying to deliver the message on what we want the viewers to see and what's happened throughout the week, and continuing from the weekend before. And then finishing strong, your closing segment, you always want to go out with a bang as well. So I do get butterflies, especially like championship weekends before the gate drops for you guys. 110%. I'm like, man, the anticipation, something that I never thought that I would get. I didn't even get that when I was racing. I get way more antsy being up in the booth before the gate drops, no doubt.
Oh, I imagine it's probably a lot like when you lined up against the great Tim Ferry, RC. Like, I mean, I would get nervous if I was up next to a champion like that.
Right? And I can't believe Red's like, I saw little Red is Evan
16.
Is 16 now. I mean, that's just. I mean, where does the time go? And I was like, man, it's crazy. Now he's going all the way through it again, but that's awesome. I'm happy for them, and I don't know what it is, but since he's gotten on that Husky, the dude is like, Evan is like a new guy. And I love, if you don't follow him, if no one's following him on Instagram, give the guy a follow. Yeah. He is so much fun. He has got talent off the bike as well. It's insane.
Do you know how depressing it's going to be that I was adjusting his father's suspension for him for years, and now I got to go ask his kid, how was your suspension tonight in the race? Like, that's the fucking depressing, Ricky. That is depressing. Like, oh my God.
Well, dude, we're getting old. I mean, there's no beating around the bush. There's no beating around the bush. There's no doubt about it.
Oh,
short story for you guys. The guy that used to produce Scott McLemore, if you remember him. So he always used to say that when I started racing pro, I'm going to retire. Well, the guy's still working now. So. Anyhow, I just think it's in our blood, man. I think we like it, and I think that we just can't sit around here and do nothing. So
I know.
Anyhow,
well, I was going to say, I mean, because Ferry did take you down in '97. That was a perfect bit of racecraft there. Not winning one race, it was a brilliant strategy. It was a brilliant strategy.
It's a long game.
Yeah, it's a long game. But anyways,
that's right.
Starling,
hey, I believe I had the most crashes that season and in 1999. So those 99 definitely is a year that I would like to forget without a doubt. It was just mayhem, a rookie, and it's just like people don't understand. Like, I had to give AC a million kudos this year for when he crashed in was it Glendale?
Yeah,
I mean that was a tough lick, and to come back the next weekend in Oakland, I wish there was a way that I could have explained that better. To come back and rebound the way that he did is so hard to do at the pinnacle of the sport. And I don't know really how to explain it any better. Like I don't know how. I think you have to live it and know what it's like. But it's just, and I lived that, so I know how hard it is to do, and not only physically but mentally. It's so easy to get in a rut. Yeah. And the guy was just able to rebound, and it was cool to see. And a lot like Zach Osborne. I mean, kind of switching gears here to finishing out the series. I mean, he won at Salt Lake, and then to be in a hole that he was in the 450 class. I mean, he was used to winning in the 250 the last couple of years there, and then to be able to basically pull yourself out of the soup and win a championship, win in Supercross. I think we haven't seen the last of him, because the guy knows how to win, and once he knows that he can do it, it's like he won't be denied. And I just have a lot of mad respect for people that are able to do that, because that is so hard to do.
Yeah, don't you think, we talked about this before, if he doesn't win the final round at Salt Lake, I mean, Anderson's seat comes off to help him out a little bit. If he doesn't win that, then maybe he doesn't win this outdoor title. Do you know what I mean? Just that little spark. Yeah. And honestly, you at Anaheim, the infamous Jeremy race at Anaheim, then you went on a roll. Like, it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, I can do this. I can really do this,
Yeah, 100. Without it, I personally do. I think he would have been strong minus the win at Salt Lake. Of course I do. Yeah. You could just see his confidence rising. If you just say that the Salt Lake residency that we did, it was like a second season, if you will, of Supercross. Yeah. I mean, something clicked. And I haven't had a chance to talk to him as much as I would like to, but they clearly got the bike handling better for him, and it was in a comfortable spot. On an average, his finishes were better. His starts were better. Everything was just working well for him. And then, yes, do I think, to answer your question, Steve, winning the final round help him go into the outdoor? 100%. Had to have a boatload of confidence. You would assume that outdoor is more his thing. And he's probably like, oh, hell yeah, it's game on. And he knows he's tough, and the guys that he's lining up against, he knows that he can run with them, and he won't be denied. And he has that never say die attitude. And that's really what you need, not only in all racing, but especially the outdoors.
Yeah, RC, I kind of want to go back into your racing career a little bit. And so you went 24-0 two times, and you're super impressive with those. How mentally challenging was it to do that, and was the second one harder than the first one, or how did that work? Because I've always wanted to ask you that, and it's only one other dude's done it besides you, and you're the only one that can do it twice.
Yeah, so great question. In 2002, honestly, I didn't think that, I didn't have any intentions on doing that, and it just happened. That bike was really good, by the way. The O2 outdoor bike was worked really well. And the only time that the pressure got to me, and I promise, the only time it did, was the final round. Was the final moto. Yeah. Because you go 23 races, right? Yeah. Undefeated. Right. And then it's like, okay, you can't screw this up now.
Yeah, I would be freaking out in my head, freaking out on the gate.
Yes, I was. I was like, okay. I'm like, holy crap, man! Now I feel the pressure. But up until that point, it was incredibly. I wouldn't say easy, right, but I didn't really think about it until really all the marbles were on the table, and that's when it got me. Didn't know what to expect. So the second time that I did it in 2004, that bike, I mean, to this day, that CRF 450 was probably my favorite. Other than my RM 250, my 2005 SX bike, that was probably my two favorite motorcycles. And my 98 KX 125. Those three were my absolute favorite. And it was so much fun to ride. I remember riding in '04, like during the week, just loving going to the track and riding. It didn't matter if the conditions were good, bad. I mean, that bike just excelled everywhere, and it was pretty much stock, like a stock engine. There wasn't a lot done to them. Those things were so fast anyways. But I knew what to expect in 2004.
Yep.
So it was a little bit easier just because I had done it before. But I did feel the pressure once again on that last moto because, like I said, you go so far and you're like, okay, man, I can't screw it up. But another reason that I think also going undefeated in 2004 was a little bit easier was not only did I done it before and I knew what to expect, is if you remember, I landed on K-Dub's bike in practice, and so I was kind of preoccupied mentally. My ankle was all tweaked. Yeah, the thing was like a balloon. So I had something to kind of take my mind off it. I was more,
Right.
focused on not dabbing my foot and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it was funny because in '03, Timmy beat you in a moto, Wyndham beat you, but the
Yep.
two-stroke, you're spinning, you're going sideways, the thing's revving. And then all of a sudden it's like you got on the four-stroke. It's like, oh wait,
Yep.
oh shit, okay. Well, we all got problems now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, honestly, it was your two-stroke was at a disadvantage, and that's the way that's the real truth there for sure.
When we were at Unadilla and Wyndham and I mean, I was going as hard as I could. And I remember coming off, and he beat me straight up, and I knew it was going to be tough to beat those guys there, especially that track. And
Yeah.
K-Dub, we all know how well he rides, especially at Unadilla. That track really suits his style. It's rocky. You got to have great throttle control, a lot of just slippery areas. You have to have a lot of technique there. And we got back to the Honda rig, and Cliff White. For those of you guys know, he pretty much was the engine tuner there while my tenure at Honda. Love the guy, got a great relationship with him, still talk to him. And he's like, dude, he says, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way that you were going to beat Kevin at this track against that four-stroke. So don't beat yourself up too bad, because I was pissed, right? Like I wanted to win. So
and I can
he's like,
and RC, I can see Cliff the way he talks, like just all quietly and a matter of factly. He would have just been like,
yeah.
there's no way you would have beat him, Ricky, and then just walked off.
Yeah, you're exactly.
And you're like, what the fuck? What do you mean?
Yeah,
right.
That's pretty much how it was. Like, don't beat yourself up.
Right.
There's no way you're going to beat him. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that at the beginning?
Yeah, that is so Cliff.
But then what then fast forwarding. Now let's go to 2005, where I lost two motos. One was at Southwick. I kind of come from the back section and the front section. I went over and Reedy ended up winning that moto. And then, of course, the famous one that everyone remembers of me and Stu at Unadilla when he landed on me.
Yeah.
Those were like I'm like, man, I was so close to almost doing it 3 times. I won all the overalls, but just won 22 motos. So that really pisses me off because
you
I'm
can
like,
hear it
dude,
in his
2
voice.
more. Yeah, I'm like looking back. I'm like, dude, really? I couldn't just pull 2 more motos off.
I brought up shit. It's my bad.
Yeah. Good job. Ricky, I know I promised you half an hour. Do you got a little bit more time? We got some phone calls for you.
Okay. No problem.
Let's get to some phone calls for Ricky Carmichael here. Brought to you by VertexPistons.com. First up is Todd. Todd, what's going on? What's your question for RC?
Ricky, got a quick question for you. Not
sir.
to tag on to JT and to Steve's Mount Rushmore discussion, a little bit different. But if you could, past or present, line up on the gate with anybody, who would it be and why, and what bike would you be on?
Ooh, dude, fantastic question. Thanks for calling in. That is, wow, you put me on the spot.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it would probably be the CRF 450 was pretty sporty. I mean, I just feel like the advantage that I had on that season was, I mean, that was nice going to the line on that thing. The next would be, who would I like to line up against? Oh man, I mean, so I would probably have to say Ryan Dungey or Ryan Villapoto. I would be okay with one of those two guys, because I've raced just about every other one that are high up on the record books, and those guys are basically the next two in line, and that's why they're multiple champions in both disciplines. Supercross and motocross, so that's who I would line up against. That's fantastic. Great question.
Cool. Thanks for the Thanks for the question, man. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to AJ on 6. AJ, what's your question for RC?
Hey, so my question is, like the NBA and the NFL, how they have like a roundtable of like past champions or past players of the past to talk about the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Would you think that it would be ideal, like for like, I don't know, like during, just to keep like interaction with the fans, to have like a round table of like 4 past riders to go over like the week to week stuff?
Like a show, you mean like a TV show, like a midweek thing or something?
Kind of like the NBA tip off,
right?
Like how they have like Charles, Shaq, and Ernie and Kenny.
Yeah, they've done it.
Yeah,
it's been great. But I'd like to see that RC too. Like I'd love to see a little bit more of a pregame show, a pre-race show for our sport.
Yeah.
So what 4 riders would you put on there?
Okay, so which guys would you want us to talk with?
Well, I would, I would, if you guys wanted to hear my input, I would certainly be on there. I think Kevin Windham would be someone really good for that. I think RV would be good. I've had a conversation with him at the Motocross of Nations about stuff like that, and I really like Emmig's opinions. So I think those are the 4 people that I would. I think it'd be better to have guys that are retired from racing now. That would be a fun panel, I believe. And I think, to answer your question, I think that would be awesome. Do I wish they would do it? 110%. I wish they would, but that costs money and airtime. And trust me, I'm always pushing for. Is there any way we could get like a 30-minute pre-show to just rehash certain things of, certain rides and point out certain things that happened the weekend before, or hey, look what happened at this race last year. You could really make your points, but until that happens, we're going to have to make do with podcasts like Pulp MX and Real Talk 447 and all the other great podcasts out there. We're just going to have to do the best with what we got, but it would definitely be awesome if we could do that for sure.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to 3. Cody, you want to apologize to RC?
Yeah, just on behalf of kind of everyone who has talked crap about you and to you about broadcasting, I think I just want to apologize for saying that kind of stuff, because I think a lot of it comes from us fans being frustrated that it gets dumbed down a little bit too much. But it comes from your bosses, and I know, and I think a lot of the fans know that it's way harder than we'll ever realize to be in the broadcast booth and do what you guys do. And I just wanted to apologize, and I hope you don't take it personally. I'm sure at least some of it does get to you guys, because I'm sure it would be really hard to be on the receiving end of that. But All right. Yeah. All right.
Oh, dude. Well, first and foremost, thank you for that. You never have to apologize to me, man. I really do appreciate it. Listen, I don't claim to be perfect on that. I know I got a lot of work to do. And so thanks for saying that. I'm not always going to get it right, but all I can do is do my best. And do we have to dumb it down once in a while? Yes, we do, because we're trying to capture new fans, and you guys have talked about this before.
Yeah.
That's kind of our jobs, and I think there are a lot of times where people really, they don't understand what's happening on the other end. I mean, so we have to do what we're told to do sometimes, and I understand our boss's view and the people that we're trying to capture as well. I think the biggest thing that I see a lot is what it's like people hate when they talk about when we mention the colors of the motorcycles or something like that. That's the one I feel like it really irritates the fans, but not a lot of people know what color a Yamaha is. I mean, sometimes there's bikes out there. I'm like, well, what kind of brand are they on? And I got to go look. I got to go look. But anyhow, yeah, I appreciate that. We work hard. Trust me. I can guarantee you that that NBC and Feld they want to provide the best TV that they possibly can, but we also we have to try to capture some new eyeballs and explain things to people that not everyone knows.
Well, yeah, Ricky, I mean, I'll be the first one to say I was critical of you the first year on the air. I thought it was a rough start for you as the only guy in the booth. But I'll also say, despite everything that was going on with us, you and I, my record will show that this year I went on the record many times saying you've really improved your game. You've really stepped it up for all those reasons that you mentioned earlier, watching the outdoors and focusing more a bit on it. I thought you made a big improvement from year 1 to year 2. I want to hear your opinion. You've won so much fucking races that, I want to hear from you. You tell me why this happened. You tell me what's going to happen next because, you know better than almost anybody. So I thought you stepped it up big time for year 2, and it was good. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And the biggest thing, so exactly like where I tried to improve, like I told you guys a little bit earlier, is like put my helmet on. Okay, and what would I do in this situation? Now there are a couple times where people get heated up, as if a rider took somebody down, or this guy cross jumped. Not always. Like it's in the heat of the moment, and my natural reaction might not be the same as somebody else that is watching. Now, if you're at home and you're able to TiVo it a million times, you're going to be able to see it more times than I was right at the beginning. So that's the challenge, and I'm not always going to get those right. Not always going to get those calls right. One thing that I kind of like, that kind of irks me, not really irks me, but kind of bums me out, is when a rider gets bummed about my opinion on what they did wrong. So, and I'm going to be harsh. I wouldn't say I'm going to be harsh, but I would be doing my job a disservice, and I would be doing the people that put me in that position a disservice if I didn't call it how I see it and really explain it. So, we'll go to Austin Forkner, for example, at Salt Lake City. The mistake that he made and going over that dragon back, okay, he knows better than to do that. And are his fans going to be pissed off at me for saying that? Of course they are. But I could debate them all day long on why he didn't need to make that mistake. He was in a perfect position. There was no reason to freak out. He was doing exactly what he needed to do, and he got ahead of himself. Yeah. And that's where it goes to, I'm not doing my job properly if I hold back. I'm just not. No, and so that, and it has nothing to do with not respecting the rider. I like Austin. He does a great job. He's great for the sport. He's fun to watch. He does a lot of cool things on a motorcycle, but at the same time, calling it the way it is, he shouldn't have made that mistake at his level. He shouldn't have. Yeah. And I stand by that. And it's situations like that to where this year I call it like I remember at one stage our producer, he could tell I was holding back on something. And he was just in my ear. He's like, "You got to say it. Say it." I'm like, all right, here we go. And I said it, but most people appreciate it. But then, the people that whoever I was talking about, I can't even remember who it was. They're just they're gonna hate it. But anyhow, it has nothing to do. Like, I really respect these riders, and they blow my mind. I have so much respect for them, and I love watching them and how much talent that they have. So it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I agree. That's how you got to be. Tony Romo's, any of these guys that do analysts that come out of the out of the playing field or the racetrack. That's what they deserve. That's what the fans deserve, is your opinion. You know what I mean? And you've got the credentials to back it up. You know? So, absolutely.
Yeah. And if I got it wrong 100%, I have trust me, man. I can tell you. I'll say, hey, man, you know what? I got that wrong. This one's on me. And this is why I got it wrong. I have no problem with that.
Right.
But anyhow,
no, it's good. Well, hey, man, I never thought you'd call on the show. At least when I was here.
I appreciate it. We as all of your viewers and my fans, like, we buried the beef. We had a nice conversation at Salt Lake, and man, it's going to be good. I can't believe that. I feel like we should be in Monster Energy Cup this weekend, but I'm glad that everyone got the season in. It was great. Looking forward to Supercross next year. I think it's going to be a hell of a year. Don't ask me who I think's going to win. I mean, was that the next question?
No, we can have you on closer to the series to talk more about that. I think. We got to have Daniel on there and bust his chops a little bit too. That's easy to do.
Oh, dude, this guy, he goes with his. So we'll have little bets once in a while, and he goes with his heart all the time. And I keep telling him, like, man, you're sipping the Kool-Aid. he goes with his heart, but we had to bust his chops a little bit, even if he's not on tonight. Enjoyed all the questions. Thank you to all your callers calling in. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
For having me on,
And now my social feed will stop saying "Get Ricky Carmichael on," and yours will stop saying "Go on the Pulp MX show." Like that, we'll both.
That's right.
Right.
There you go.
That'll finally end. It'll finally end. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming and talk in Salt Lake City. You came up to me. We kind of talked about it. That was probably something that I was too much of an asshole to do, and you did it. You know what I mean, on your end.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
I appreciate that, and good job in the booth, and thank you for coming on. Thank you.
Heck yeah, you guys have a great show, and we'll be tuned in. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That's Ricky Carmichael, everybody.
Wow.
It's a good interview.
Great.
He's really good. He talks really well.
Good interview.
Yeah, he's 180 degrees from where he was.